welcome to Under the Abbey Stand. It's the first season preview ahead of welcoming the Robins to the Abbey on Saturday as a League Two outfit once again. We'll look ahead to that game, plus talk about national media coverage, new forward threat, and all of the usual cutting insight into all things Cambridge United. Just before we get into it, a few plugs to give you. Thanks to everyone who's signed up to the Coconut tier, our new subscription service. There's an interview with Mark Bonner and Alex Tunbridge on there for your delectation. Loads of website content on incoming strikers and an interview with Don Ball. And of course, if you enjoyed it last year, then please do join our EFL Fantasy League and keep on Substack and join all those chats. Thanks for all the interaction so far during what's been a nice summer off. But we're back into the swing of it, and I'm joined by the ever-present Utah stalwart, Tom Walker. Tom Walker, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, all right. It's been a nice break. It's been nice to not think about Cambridge United, but then suddenly it was the end of July and we're here again, back into the swing of the football season again. So yeah, first game on Saturday, plenty to talk about. But let's talk about something we've been dwelling on for a while: lack of forward force. Messrs Loft and Lavery apart. We've got a striker who I think is called Louis Appere. Firstly, how are you pronouncing that?
I'll go with the Pere, I think.
Okay, cool.
It sounds more continental, therefore more big time, therefore better. So
Yeah, we do love butchering pronunciations on this podcast, so long may that continue. Secondly, what are your thoughts on this signing?
yeah, I mean, just on butchering the pronunciation, I mean, I was thinking like if you kind of squint your eyes a little bit and put your fingers in your ears, it does sound enough like a pie for me to be on board with it, or happier, I suppose. Yeah, we'll never get that one right either. I think it's all right, we did our sort of full season preview just a bit earlier on this week, which is obviously out as well to listen to. And I think the one thing that came out of that more than anything was I'm not convinced that having someone with who could score 25 or 30 goals is necessarily as important as it's made out to be. We mentioned the stat, I'll mention it again, that there was only two strikers in the whole Football League that scored 20 or more goals, and neither of those got promoted. So the immediate thing that people have looked at is his goal return. I think in Northampton it was like a shade under 1 in 5. At Stevenage it was obviously not very good. In Scotland it was okay. That was obviously a few years ago now. But I think what's more important is how can he sort of function in the team, and what's his role going to be, and can he contribute to sort of a more effective attacking unit. And I think the reviews have been largely quite positive on that. He obviously won promotion with Northampton, which is a good sign, and that's another in inverted commas winner that we brought into the team and brought into the club. And that's something that Harris has been very big on, and it's something he mentioned in his interview about Appere, however you want to say it. And yeah, I think the consensus seems to be decent mobile centre forward. Might not be like Mullin-esque levels of goal return, but someone who can definitely contribute. And look, we're short on numbers up there. We're short on quality. Seems to bring a bit of quality, which is good. But yeah, look, proof ultimately will be in the pudding. And a lot of this will obviously depend on how you play up to him as well, I guess, because with respect, you could sign the best striker on the planet, and if you spend 90 minutes playing in a way that doesn't suit his style, doesn't suit how he wants to be played to, then it's meaningless at the end of the day. So I look forward to it. I mean, good that he's sort of ready to jump right in by the sounds of it, which is real positive, because God knows we need it. God knows we need options up there at the moment and for the next few weeks. And it's another one that not entirely, because there's always pressure on these things while the transfer window is going, but it does give us a bit of breathing space because we've got options, or we have an option there. And then obviously Kachunga's back after Saturday when he served his suspension, and it gives you a couple to choose from.
Yeah, certainly interesting to see who we're missing on Saturday, but no spoilers yet. Obviously, we're massive Cambridge United, and we've been covered in the national papers once again. Daily Mail posted an article. One thing I took from that article was James Brophy, ever present, only missing 5 games the past few seasons. Do you think that's going to be another theme of this season? James Brophy kind of being not the focal point necessarily, but like be ever present in the United squad?
Yeah, good to see the Daily Mail taking a little bit of time away from small boats, and Tom Skinner running for president or prime minister or whatever it is, to look at James Brophy. Didn't see that one coming. It was a surprise to me when I saw the article, to be fair. But yeah, did you see Neil Harris's attachment to GPS being something that the Daily Mail might report on? Caught me by surprise.
Yeah, incredible drone coverage generally there. Probably don't need to touch on that anymore. But yeah, an interesting article nonetheless, and mentions all of our kind of incoming players. You know, Pelly Ruddock, Don Ball, Ben Purrington. Quite a straddle of ages there. So we've got a few new signings, and the fans wanted it. Who are you excited to see out the lot, whether it young or old, and who are you most worried about?
I think I think the standout name is pretty obviously Pelly Ruddock. Just because of where he's played, the fact that we sort of know of him from earlier on in his career when he was with Luton, and the fact that we just think it's an area of the park that needed a real uplift in terms of the quality, and he should bring that, should bring that really comfortably. So yeah, I think for me, Pelly Ruddock is the standout. There's a few others in there, like we talked again, on the season preview about people like Ben Knight, who there might not be like a massive expectation on, but feel like there's certainly a lot of upside potential there. Um, and yeah, I think for the most part, not entirely, but I would say for the most part, what we've done has been to this point quality over quantity, which is good. When Don Ball and Purrington joined, feels like ages ago now. What was it, probably 6-8 weeks, something like that. That seemed to be how it was, and then there was a bit of a pause, and Ruddock pops out of nowhere, and yeah, it's obviously padded out by the likes of Bradshaw, of course, but yeah, I think Ruddock's the standout, but there's a couple other names in there that I think we would all probably have been quite happy with last season, to be honest, which is saying something because, well, I don't know if it says more about the quality we brought in this year or the lack thereof this time last year, but yeah, either way, I guess that's to be a good thing.
Absolutely, and of course, yeah, Pelly Ruddock, a long career, and we've got Don Ball, of course, interviewed by the podcast. Do you think the pressure's off for Pelly Ruddock, and it's someone further down that kind of age bracket that the most pressure is on? You look at the likes of, as you say, Ben Knight, but you've got, Ben Hughes and Zach Bradshaw. Who do you think the most pressure is on to perform, and who's going to be under most pressure kind of early on in that selection?
Eastwood, I think. Yeah, I mean, probably even at this early stage, quite maligned, I think. Probably one that underwhelmed a lot of people because again, like goalkeeper was an area I think a lot of people were like, right, go out and sound like a really established player who you're almost certain will be good enough for the level. Think his numbers rank about sort of mid-table, in all sort of goalkeeper data that comes out for goalkeepers at this level. Obviously, a bit of a clanger in the sort of showpiece preseason friendly against Charlton. And yeah, just generally speaking, one that maybe hasn't filled people with confidence. So I think him for sure. Um, Purrington as well. Like we've not had an amazing track record with left back since Iredale left. Thinking Hamstrup, for example, Danny Andrews sort of flattered to deceive quite a lot for a couple of years, and left back's a big position for us that again needed quality coming in. So maybe pressure on him, but you feel maybe more confident because again, like we're speaking about track records a lot here, but he does come with one. But yeah, I think a lot of people will look at maybe a Perry, to be honest, because we have talked a lot about that forward position over the years, and rightly so. And the pressure, I guess, is to come in and be better than Lofty, with respect. I hope he will do that quite comfortably. But yeah, look, we want to be a team, I guess, this season that's right at the top end, and that means that they're all going to have certain pressures, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Ryan Loft, who we'll touch on in a bit. Presser before the big season opener against Cheltenham came out today. It was all very kind of positive. Michael Morrison has come out saying he's looking forward to it. Neil Harris very much the same. Tom Walker, are you looking forward to the season opener?
Yeah, I think so. To be honest, I think above anything, it's good to go into a game thinking like I would really expect us to win this. I'd really, expectation brings different pressures and brings different feelings as well, of course. But for so many years, like you'd go into games with basically being told like nearly week on week on week, like a point to be a fantastic result here, and probably you're going into a lot, well, probably 70 or 80% of the games expected to lose. And this couldn't be more different. Like these are one of the teams that have been tipped pretty heavily to struggle, Cheltenham that is. And yeah, I think it'll be good just to. I think it's a real opportunity to stamp our mark, sort of early doors. And I think all of August is that as well, by the way. But particularly a home game against Cheltenham feels like there's a cautious sense of optimism going around the club as well. I know a couple of the guys on the season preview and maybe predictions that we've had sent into us have been like, yeah, maybe mid-table this season. But I don't know, with Perry coming in that striker position, but maybe not filled, but added to, with maybe one or two more to come. I do think there's a sort of growing sense of optimism, as there often is, approaching the first game of the season. But I do think there's some substance to that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Be good to be back. Hopefully, NRE bouncing as much as it can be these days, and yeah, a really good opportunity to kick things off with a win.
Yeah, before we go on to Neil Harris's comments, you mentioned there, an August take opportunity of we had such a horrible start to the season last year. Do you think this is an August that we really need to grab by the scruff of the neck and make it our own and kind of stamp authority on the league as much as we can?
Yeah, I think so. I think this probably goes for the first half of the season as well. I can't remember the stat off the top of my head, but I think it was like we only play a couple of the sort of preseason bookies favourites, like for finishing or the top seven or something like that, top six, top
Yeah.
seven teams, in the first half of the year at home. I think that is, and that suggests that there's a first half of the season that's there to be got at, and I think in August alone we play what Harrogate, Cheltenham, Newport, I think as well. Like you look at the fixture already, you're thinking, can you be on sort of like 13, 14 points going, coming out of August and really see like that? That should be the aim. That has to be the aim because we don't want to sound too flippant about it, but like spent a lot of time in League One being told that we couldn't expect to compete with the teams that we were trying to compete against, and now we're playing against teams and clubs that are eminently smaller than us, and frankly that we should be beating, and we should back ourselves to be clearly better than. And I don't think there's not really any fixtures in this division that should frighten us too much. But certainly August, I think, yeah, is a gettable month, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Harris very much kind of mirroring what Morrow said. Very excited about the weekend and the season to come. All the players are hungry, not to piss on the positivity too much, but Neil Harris also said Corey Smith out until the middle of September. Shane Lavery expected to miss August 2. McConnell on his way back, but not ready yet. And Kachunga suspended. Also, Pelly Ruddock not ready to start. Do you think we've got enough depth in that new squad to kind of go through, as you say, go through those first few games and get the results still?
That's the tricky bit, isn't it? And yeah, I think a lot of the positivity comes from that. I think on paper, probably at least, the first 11 looks decent for this level. Like, it looks decent. Yeah, then the question is what happens after that. Saturday will be a really interesting test of that because it's hopefully the most sort of makeshift will be really hopefully all season, and obviously hopefully there'll be one or two more additions to come yet before the end of August. But Saturday, like you say, we're missing Kachunga. Penny Ruddock's not going to be ready to go just yet. Lavery's obviously out, and we're going to be probably at bones basically. The bench will have probably youngsters on it and stuff. I think the depth is the concern. I'm not really that concerned about the quality we've got in the first 13 or 14 positions. I think I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, I mean, when you look at what MK are doing, for example, and you look at their business, of course you look at us and you go, how can we compete? But we keep saying it, keep banging on about it. This is gonna be my gripe all season. Like, we do have, like, realistically, we're looking for a top seven finish, right? And that'll probably be about par. You don't have to be that good. So I'm like, yeah, depth would be great, but like, do we need two quality players for each position? Probably not. I think we look just about okay. I think one or two coming back from suspension, Pelly Ruddock getting up to fitness, and maybe one or two more through the door, and then you're basically about there. And I hope by the end of the month, that's where we'll be. So in short, yes, I'm worried now, but I don't think I'll be that worried in sort of 10, 12 days time.
And finally, the Harry Smith saga seems to be over. It's been ongoing and, bids turned down, all that. Is that almost a kind of monkey off the back now that's gone? We can kind of focus our energy on other players.
Have you ever heard of a more League Two saga than that in all your life? A £70,000 bid followed by £100,000 bid by Cambridge United to Swindon Town for a 30-year-old 6'4" target man. It's perfect, isn't it?
We're in League Two now, and we're very much embracing it. Very interested to see who else comes in. It would be complete conjecture for us to try and name names, but yeah, hopefully, as you say, a couple of names through the door. We'll look at how we're going to line up and what's going to happen in the first game. Before that, we'll look ahead to a preview. I caught up with Hoppo from Robin Report. Right then, news fans, welcome back. It's been a while. We were a League One side, we're now a League Two side. But here's a preview for you with Hoppo from the Robins Report pod. Hoppo, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Nice to be on.
So interesting, a new season. Last season, your first one back in League Two was a tough one by the looks of it. How did it go for you?
Um, Obviously, after relegation, and obviously you guys are fine this season. Our expectations were to consolidate. Too many clubs have dropped through the trap door. You look at Forest Green, look at Carlisle, they come down from League One and gone straight through. We had a massive turnover of players with 19 new players last season. Michael Flynn coming in as well as manager. We lost a few backroom staff, so it was a complete upheaval for the club. So you know, the expectations wasn't to go up. Some were. Some people are always a bit unrealistic, but the consolidation was what we had really. We up until March, we were still with a good chance of getting the playoffs. We were 3-1 up at Swindon with 30 minutes to go, went into 10 men, ended up drawing 3-3. And then after that, we didn't win for 5 games. And then that's why I'd say we probably finished about 15th. But I think if you asked any sensible Robins fan, 15th last season was kind of what we expected. And, the majority were happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting to hear kind of what it's like after coming down from League One. Obviously, we're experiencing that firsthand now. It's not easy. And yeah, with the changeover in the squad, do you think that was the kind of season for getting back into it? And this is a one for you guys to push on and look a bit kind of more towards promotion again?
With At the end of the season, that's what was the realistic expectation. A lot of fans, including myself, was like, right, we've consolidated now. Let's have a go again, and maybe see if we can get in those playoffs. But I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know it's well documented. Cheltenham are on the verge of being taken over by Mike Garlick, former Burnley chairman, got Burnley into the Premier League, got them into Europe. Only sold up, I think, in 2023. So very recently sold. So it's been a very quiet off season for Cheltenham. Very, very quiet in terms of we've had 6 new signings, which I'm sure we'll touch on. And I think the expectations been sort of like watered down a bit. I think a lot of fans are now, knowing because of the takeovers going through and what have you. I think a lot of the expectation now is that, again, another season of consolidation. Make sure we just don't get dragged into a relegation battle.
Yeah, interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with us. We've had the big turnover, but I don't think there's, abounding confidence that we're going to bounce back up. You spoke about those 6 kind of signings that came in. Of those signings, is there any kind of standout signings you're looking forward to seeing?
There's one who's now at his 3rd spell. And he's a good League Two / League One player in Ryan Broom. This is his 3rd spell with the club. It's not as if we've ever released him. He's kind of come back. He's done well. He's at that. We sold him to Peterborough. Then he came back. Then he got a better offer from Fleetwood 2 years ago. And done okay there, but he was out of contract this summer. We bought him in. And the one I'm really looking forward to seeing is Rob Cundy. We Cheltenham tried to sign him back. I would say 5 years ago, but he chose Bristol City. I understand why, Championship club. Went to Bristol City, but was ravaged with injuries for the last few years, and he went on to Notts County last season. Again, injuries scuppered his season. So he's coming to Cheltenham this summer, and what I've seen of him in pre-season, if we can keep him fit, then I think he will be a really, really solid signing for us.
It's interesting you mentioned Robbie Cundy. He had a loan spell at Cambridge, and yeah, famously scored in the League Cup game after COVID. We beat Birmingham at St Andrews, and it was Robbie Cundy who scored. He didn't do much else, but yeah, I think without injuries, he's a decent centre back, certainly this level, and it'll be an interesting one for you to see. So looking at the rivalry then between the Robins and Cambridge United, there's been quite a few games over the past few years and in recent history, and I think Cheltenham certainly have the bragging rights in recent games. Have you got any kind of good memories or particularly bad ones of playing Cambridge in the last few years?
The good memory has got to be our last one at your place, and we won 1-0. It was a big result for Cheltenham because obviously we was, again, everybody would know we had an awful start to the season, didn't score in the first 11. I think we've nicked that off Burnley now, so we owed the record. And then Darryl Clark come in, did a great job of just dragging everybody off the canvas, put in the right direction. And I can always remember going to your place and Matty Taylor scored, and it just felt like something was happening. And we did have a pretty bad February, to be fair. In the end, it wasn't enough, but that always stands out. It was a good game. It was my first visit to the Abbey, actually. And for many years of there's always something was popped up, and that one sticks out for me. There's not too many what sticks now. I did have a look before I came on, and actually Cheltenham won 11 and Cambridge and lost 7. To Cambridge. There's been 5 draws, which surprised me because Cambridge have always been one for me that I've always remembered us losing. So, we have got a better record than what I originally thought.
Yeah, me too. I kind of thought it was closer than that, but I think now I think back, there are quite a lot of losses to the Robins, and it'll be interesting to see how Saturday's game goes. Before we look forward to Saturday's game, then just a note on your opening fixtures for this season, and what looks like a really tough August for you, playing like some of the favourites at the top of the table. Does Saturday's game feel like one that you kind of need to get something from to kind of get the season's momentum going?
Yeah, any other season I would go, let's go to Cambridge, just get it, take a point, let's move on. But you're right, we start our own fixture against Chesterfield, who in my own League Two prediction I put them as finishing second. Then we go away to MK Dons, who, well, if they haven't won the league by Christmas, then I think everybody would be surprised because the signings they made are outstanding, championship quality manager. Then we got Bromley, we got Barnet, and we got Salford. Again, everybody says the name Salford, but nobody really fans. But they got a lot of big backing. So again, another hard game. But saying that, I do always say that sometimes the best time to play these fancy teams are at the beginning of the season because they tend to have a bit of a slow start. So, but to answer your question, I think it would be massive for us to get 3 points at the start of the season. More from Michael Flynn as well, because there's a few fans who sit on the fence with Michael. I don't know why. We talk about it every week on the Robins Report. We don't know why there's an agenda against him, but there is a few fans who don't fancy him. So I can quite imagine if we have a bad start, that some of those fans will be out with their claws.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an interesting start for both teams, I think, and both teams will want to be getting a positive result to get the season going. We often at this point ask teams about their kind of style of play and what they expect. I think we might be slightly early in the season for that, but if you could pick a player who maybe we could look out for, who maybe you knew from last season or are excited to see, who would you pick out from a Cheltenham point of view?
Well, there's actually 3. At the end of last season, even the manager said in his interview as early as when we played Notts County, which is about 3 or 4 games at the end of the season, that they won't be here. There was interest in them. Jordan Thomas, Ethan Archer, and Arkell Jude Boyd. Now, Jordan Thomas has got a £250,000 release clause in his contract. We are flabbergasted that he's still at the club. There has been a bid, but it was way below his release clause from Barnsley. Same with Ethan Archer. We turned in a £250,000 bid for him from MK Dons in January. There's been a bid from Stevenage, which was way below that bid, so it's been turned down. And then there's been a bid for Arkell Jude Boyd. And I mention those 3 because they are quick. They're the type of players that get you off your seat. So for Cheltenham to still have those 3 players gives us a very good chance this season. Still at the end of July, we've still got August to go. But if I was saying to Cambridge fans, the players to look out, especially Thomas and Archer, because they're attacking players. They really get you off your seat. But yeah, I'm fingers crossed that not too many people share this to the wrong people. And there's people that are scouts that go, oh, I forgot about Jordan Thomas. Let's go and sign him. But and they're the players to look out for Cheltenham.
Okay, I don't think there's too many scouts listening, mate, so I wouldn't worry too much. Just before we go, then, it's really hard to give a prediction, but how do you think Saturday's game is going to go, and what do you think the score is going to be?
I can see it being a 1-1. I can see both teams kind of not going too gung ho for it. Easing in. Cheltenham's back four has got a combined age of my granddad, my great granddad, and what have you. So yeah, hopefully they haven't put under the cosh too much. But yeah, I can see it being a 1-1.
And just before we go, then, this is almost impossible what I'm going to ask you, but I'd like a prediction for the end of the season. Where do you think Cheltenham are going to finish? You don't need to give an exact position, but how do you think the season will pan out?
I think pretty much the same as last season. I think we'll have flashes of brilliance because of those three players I said we've kept. I think we'll have flashes of brilliance. I think we'll probably have a few bad results up and down. I will say because obviously the takeover is due to finish in a couple of weeks' time, and there is big rumours that my God, it will put a bit of money into the budget. If we can get one or two bits more quality in, I could see Cheltenham surprising a few. But in my own League Two prediction at the moment, I have us down to 17th.
Yeah. Okay, Hoppo, listen, that's brilliant. Good luck for this coming season, and good luck for Saturday. And we'll speak to you in a few months' time. Cheers.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Right, cheers, Hoppo. Tom, Hoppo there, Cheltenham came down from League One, managed in League Two last year, lower mid-table. Also seems like they'd be happy with a kind of, another consolidation season. Presumably, that's not what we want. We don't want to kind of, consolidate and then stagnate here. We're hoping for more than that.
No, of course. I think, look, rightly or wrongly, I think there's a lot of weight put into how teams fare or have fared over the last few years when they've come down from League One into League Two. And, let's be honest, like a lot of the time teams have struggled. Carlisle, one example, Forest Green, another, played in League One, 1 and 2 years ago. And they're both now in the conference. And clearly a lot of people will look at that and go, just got to be really careful here. I do agree with that to an extent, but I also don't really think we should base our ambitions on what other clubs do too much, to be honest. Forest Green had some horrendous decision making in there. Carlisle exactly the same. We're thankfully pretty well run. I think you have to have trust in someone like Neil Harris that they can do better than that, and I think our ambitions have to reflect that as well. I think I don't know, maybe I'm not reading the room correctly, but I just don't see why the ambition should be to go back up straight away. And I don't see why that can't be a realistic expectation either. Expectation maybe a bit far, but certainly a realistic hope or a realistic ambition that we should have a chance of, right? We should be there or thereabouts come the end of the season, because again, like we've heard a lot of chat about not being able to compete with budgets and stuff like that, and not being able to compete with stature of clubs. There's none of that to fear at this level. So yeah, of course, and again, like with respect, would I expect Cheltenham Town to be able to compete better than us at this level? Probably not. Like, to be honest, and that might be a bit blinkered, and there's probably a bit of the ambient spectacles in there. Probably there definitely is, but the point I'm making is that just because like Cheltenham have consolidated the mid-table and they'll be happy with that again, doesn't mean we have to be, not at all. So yeah, I think like I say, Saturday should hopefully be a marker for a few reasons, and first one's get things moving again, get things feeling positive again, and obviously if you can beat a side in Cheltenham who maybe have struggled to adjust or maybe haven't adapted as well as they might liked, then maybe that's another sign that we can just go one step better.
I feel like this question might have quite an abrupt answer. Hoppo was most excited about the arrival of Robbie Cundy. What's your thoughts on that, Tom?
If you mention Robbie Cundy to Jordan Warland, he'll talk about a pod that we recorded just after Harry Darling left. And we were like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be absolutely fine. We've got Robbie Cundy there. And then literally, I think as we released the episode, it got announced that Robbie Cundy was leaving as well. So still bitter about that. He was decent for us, wasn't he? He was good enough. Scored the winner away at Birmingham on the first day of that season. Got things up and running for us, which was nice. I think he was there at the promotion celebration as well. I might have misremembered that.
No, that he was. I'm glad you listened to the preview, because I mentioned that Birmingham goal.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, there we go.
A fondly remembered player.
Yeah, and if I'm honest with you, if you want a genuine take, I'm pretty surprised that he's ended up playing for Cheltenham Town in League Two. I don't know if that's a reflection that Cheltenham have done well to get him, or maybe he's not done so well to end up there. But regardless, there's a player in there, I guess, somewhere, or has been. So yeah, all the best to him, but obviously not on Saturday.
Obviously not on Saturday. Right, before we go, it's very early and almost impossible to call. How do you think we're going to line up on Saturday?
Well, you say it's impossible to call. I think it pretty much picks itself almost. I think there's only one or two question marks. I think the front bit, in fact, I think it pretty much all picks itself. Maybe you might question about combinations in the sort of three behind the one. I think I think we'll go 4-2-3-1. I think the question marks are who starts up top and probably who starts in the hole behind that person. And the question marks there, you go Loft or a Pere, and you go Knight or somebody else in the hole. So I think it will definitely be McLaughlin and Don Ball. We didn't mention McLaughlin. He signed as well.
Yeah.
Let's out the run order. That's
Fresh
a good
from the Bronx.
I'm happy with that. Yeah. From the Bronx to Barnwell. Yeah. A well-trodden path. But yeah, I think it'll be him and Ball in the middle. I think it probably has to be because they're pretty much the two fit and available senior midfielders that are ready to start. Maybe Pellegrino could come off the bench. Who knows? The back four. I mean, I expect probably Bennett on the right, Watson, Morrison, then Purrington, Eastwood in goal, Kai on the right, Brophy on the left, and then I'll probably go Knight behind a Pere. That's how I think it will look. That's how I think it should look. But yeah, I guess it remains to be seen. Maybe we could have a front two, Lofty and a Pere, Louis and Lofty causing carnage. How do you feel about that?
Lofty heights. That could be an interesting combo. It's either one of those that's going to go down in history as a great call, or one that could really start the season. So you've spoken very positively this pod, Tom, and you often do. So yeah, we're going to hit the ground running. What's your prediction for the game on Saturday?
You know what? It's funny because I think we and I have got a bit of a rep in the last few years for being like constantly negative. I guarantee like it'll be the reverse because I predict us to finish sixth on our season preview. Been fairly bullish so far today, and I know it'll be. It'll be like, God, they're getting carried away already.
Happy clappers.
Unrealistic expectations. I think we'll win on Saturday. I think we'll win. Yeah. I think 2-0. I'll go 2-0 win. I don't know the rest of it because who knows, but. Yeah, I'm pretty confident we've got enough about us. So yeah, 3 points to start it all off, and then then we're thinking about Crewe in May title parade.
Tom Walker with those rose-tinted spectacles. Who'd have thought it? Listen, we're going to record the review show on Monday. Everyone's out of action on Sunday, but you will get the full review, and the positivity train will keep on pushing on. Thank you again to everyone who signed up to the coconut tier. Plenty more to come on.
The nutters. That's what we're calling them.
Oh, the nutters. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that. But yeah, it's been good to be back, Tom, and only 46 games to go this season, mate.
Yeah, that'll be good. We're champagne only, aren't we now? Because all the cold hard cash we've got coming in from the nutter tier.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Monday.